COVID-19 was such a dramatic and fearful event that when it happened, it was totally unexpected. And the whole pandemic was so fearful and misunderstood by all of us in the medical community and the public at large that the devastation that it caused is unimaginable. When it started, we thought it was a joke. We thought it was something that would go away in a few weeks. And then it became a big problem for us. And people were dying left and right. And that really scared everybody. We thought medical science has advanced to a stage that things like that cannot happen again. But it has happened and we've seen the effect of it. And that means it can happen again. So we have to be on guard at all times for this kind of disease coming. I hope that there's an end in sight, but I'm not so confident about that. Why is that? We've seen how the COVID pandemic started. Initially we thought, oh, once we get the vaccine, we take the vaccine, everything will be all set. We got the vaccine, many people got vaccinated, and yet it's not abating, it still continues. It's changing, mutating from one form to the other. Initially, the Alpha Delta variant was found to be subdued by the vaccine, and many people who got the vaccine actually felt they were safe. And then it mutated into Omicron, and then Omicron has so many variants now which are causing diseases. And people who are vaccinated are even being infected also. So my feeling is that this might be a persistent thing in our community, just like the flu virus, which is now with us. You remember the flu virus, there was a pandemic of influenza in the 1900s, which killed a lot of people. And then since then, it has never really disappeared. It's just mutating, and every year in this country, we have to take the flu vaccine. The flu vaccine is done every year in many places. So now my fear is that this actually Omicron might mutate into that stage that it has to be something that we have to prevent every year. Look at the mutant strain in the environment and develop a vaccine against it, and then just take it every year. So he may actually be here to stay, which is unfortunate. And that's an honest observation I have on the virus.
I think it's very important for us to get vaccinated. First, vaccination saves lives, and also it cut back on your hospitalization time in case if you ever get hospitalized due to COVID. It boosts your immune system and all that. So I know there's been so many, false claims out there that vaccination kills, does that. All those are absolutely false. So vaccination actually helps. It helps you to, at least even if you get COVID, you won't get seriously ill. Okay.
On May 30th, I was out of this country. I was on vacation with my family. We went to Toronto, and we were about to come back the following day, fly back into the US. And as at that time, the requirement is for you to get tested to be negative before you fly back into the US. But the day before that, we've been feeling funny, I didn't think it was anything because I got tested before we left, and we were all negative, right? But while we were there doing the testing, and they happened to be doing antigen testing, which is rapid testing for COVID, which is acceptable to fly back into the US. One by one, all of us tested positive for COVID, and that immediately cut short our travel back into the US because there was no way we could fly back with the positive results into the US.
It's very important for our community to be vaccinated because we have risk factors that make basically we have risk factors that increase the risk of severe COVID-related disease if you're not vaccinated. And this is primarily because of a lot of different factors. We understand now some of them are racial, disparities in care and access to care, but there is also an increase in the prevalence of health conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, cardiac disease, obesity, kidney problems that are more prevalent in Black and African communities. And the presence of these conditions greatly increase the risk of you getting very sick should you get COVID.
As soon as I was eligible, I got my first dose on I believe February 24th, and the second vaccination, the second dose on I think March 24th, and then got my first booster shot as soon as I was eligible, and that was November 19th, 2021, and then I got my second booster shot on May 12th, 2022. So not only that I've been fully vaccinated, but doubly boosted, and I'm glad to be there.
Myself, I got vaccinated in March 9th, 2021. That was the first one. I was vaccinated December 29th, 2020.
So, some of us may have underlying health issues, so that means you are compromised. So if you don't get vaccinated and maybe boosted and all that, you may not stand a good chance of surviving COVID. So it's so important that for everybody at least to give yourself a shot, a good shot at surviving COVID, when it hits. So I'll advise all my brothers and sisters to really get boosted, so you can give yourself a good chance. Some of my friends who never got vaccinated didn't have a chance. In fact, one happened earlier this year, and so the COVID is not over by any stretch.
Looking at it that economically we are not up there, as such, people of Black descendants, we have so many comorbidities coupled with COVID. It's very necessary that each and every one of us get vaccinated to at least minimize the deaths minimize how people are dying, because this COVID came with a lot of side effects that, coupled with the comorbidities we have, will extend the effects of it on our system, the whole body system. So I will encourage everyone to get vaccinated to limit some of the side effects.
You know you love your family members and you definitely don't want to risk them getting sick. You don't want your life is too long to have it suddenly cut short. You don't know what plans you have made. You have so many things you want to do, and all of a sudden, because you have COVID, that has to stop. No, it's better for you to take the vaccine and not take any chances. It's better for you to have it than know you have it. Please take your COVID vaccine and get your booster shots as of when you do. If a place says wear your nose mask before entering, please wear your nose mask. You don't know the people that are there. You don't know what they are to their family. You don't even have to know. Just take it. It won't cost anything. Like that's just it. You don't have to get chased around to take it. Not until you're thrown out of the building because you don't have this COVID vaccine or anything like that. No, please take it. It's for your own good and for your safety.
I got vaccinated that September before going into school for my junior year. It's very important that we take initiative to get vaccinated because the medical field has a history of discriminating against us and putting us lower than other people. like white people, so it's important that we together decide to make that decision in case they don't prioritize us themselves. It's very important because as we saw before, it's so easy for something like COVID to come through and sweep us out and kill so many people. Just like Omicron came, we thought it was over and it really wasn't, and many more people still died. So we just need to stay strong and get vaccinated. My message is to just be flexible with everything. I know it seems easy to make decisions and to blame politicians for what they're doing and how they're handling it, but just know that we're all trying. Nobody's lived through a pandemic before, and yeah, to just be ready to change.
My name is Eve Almeida. I'm the 71st Social Grand Master of the Small Social Principal Grand Lodge of Massachusetts. The 71st, I was re-elected on December 12, 2021, I'm sorry, 2021.
So research has actually shown that COVID-19 affects people of color immensely, more than any other population. If you look at the statistics, you look at the number of people that have actually died from COVID or seriously ill, you see that the numbers are higher among Nigerians, Africans, people of color in general, basically. So that was one of the major reasons why we actually Harvard Street Neighborhood Health Center partnered with Prince Hall, because Prince Hall is well known in this community and they offer services to everybody. They've been doing even like food deliveries and stuff like that, so they have trust and a good relationship with the members of this community. So it was easy for us because of the way COVID came in, and there was a lot of hesitancy. There was a lot of hesitancy, basically lack of trust in the medical community, especially about vaccinations. So we knew that the only way to increase the vaccination rate among people of color was to use organizations that are deeply rooted in the community, that have trusting relationship with their members, and then partner with them and bring our clinical skills and clinical programs to them to vaccinate our members. So, like the Grandmaster just mentioned, there's a lot of people who have died. One of the major reasons why we also thought about, okay, there's a lot of elderly population, also from even Prince Hall, that were mostly affected. So the best way to do, the first place we actually came to make sure that at least the elder citizens are vaccinated was Prince Hall, because we know they have older population, and COVID was killing the older population faster than anybody else. So we make sure that those people were vaccinated as soon as possible, and stayed on as well to make sure that everybody else, from the black and brown communities is vaccinated to their life, basically. The CDC just came up with vaccinations for younger folks, right? 6 months and older. So if the worst days are over, you think they will go ahead and then produce vaccines for those age range? No. And I'll give you a personal example as well too, right? I have a 4-year-old who wasn't due for, according to the guidelines then, right, they were not in line for vaccinations. Guess what? She caught COVID a month ago. And then she gave all of us COVID. The whole family. So because she was the first one that had the symptoms. And then being like we were in a closed place, we actually like on vacation out of the country. So all of us got COVID from her. So the worst days are not over yet. There's still people getting diagnosed with COVID as we're speaking right now. There's still people in the hospital right now. They're being diagnosed and suffering from COVID. So the only way to get this thing out of the country is by making sure that people are getting tested and then getting vaccinated. If we do that, then we're talking about herd immunity. That means now everybody will be vaccinated, everybody will be boosted. So that even the reason why someone like me or my family are surviving right now is because we were vaccinated and we were boosted. That was the reason why we survived. There's been a lot of people, like the Grandmaster mentioned, right, who contracted COVID, but maybe probably not vaccinated, but maybe had some underlying medical issues, and they died. To this day, about over 1 million people have died from COVID, right, in the US. So those are 1 million people who would have been alive today if there was no COVID. So the numbers might be going down, but it's not over yet. It is over until nobody is diagnosed with COVID anymore. That's when we say it's over. As long as people are getting diagnosed and people are not wearing a mask and not getting vaccinated, they're going to be transmitting those viruses to their family and to their friends, and we'll keep on staying in this circle like we have been doing for the past 2 years.